Hi everyone, we are Y34.com and today we are going to assemble the vivo Y35. First of all, we need to remove the card tray. It is located at the top. To do this, we use a special tool, insert it into the hole and carefully push out the combined tray for SIM cards and memory cards. If the tray doesn't come out well, we can additionally use tweezers. Next, we need to heat the surface of the back cover to approximately 70 Celsius degree or 160 degree Fahrenheit. For this, we use a heating mat. You can use a hair dryer. And after 5 or 7 minutes, we move on to detaching the back cover. To detach the back cover, we use a thin plastic film. This film can be from a new display or a film from a stationery store. Carefully insert it into the gap between the back cover and the middle cover and gently run it along the edge, cutting off the adhesive backing. We need to be careful in the camera area so as not to damage the lens, and we also need to be careful as the cover is glued especially tight in this area. We also need to be careful in the area of the fingerprint sensor because the cable is located in this place. And we carefully open the back cover. So we can see on the back cover we have nothing presented. After that, we need to unscrew the screws on the top and bottom parts. For this, we use a 1.5 mm Phillips screwdriver or Phillips #30. It is better to place the screws on a special surface in a certain order so that we don't confuse anything when reassembling. As we can see, the screws have warranty stickers, which means that the smartphone has not been disassembled before us. And we also unscrew the screws on the bottom, carefully remove the screws. And after that, we move on to detach the middle cover. For this, we use a thin plastic tool. We find suitable place in which we can pick up and detach a few clips. And then we go along the edge, detaching the clips and thus detaching the middle cover. Of course, we need to be careful on the side of the side buttons and on the side of the fingerprint sensor, not to damage them, because they are physically located in those places. So we also have to be careful on the corners, because the cover is especially strong on the corners. And we open the middle cover and carefully turn it over so as not to damage the fingerprint sensor cable. Then we need to unscrew one screw that fixes the cover hiding the motherboard. To do this, we also use a 1.5 mm Phillips screwdriver. We unscrew this screw and use a non-metal tool to carefully detach the cover. We find the place where the cover is held in place, carefully rock it back and forth and remove the cover. We can also see that the cover is also glued on one side. So after that, with a non-metal tool, we disconnect the battery connector and disconnect the fingerprint sensor cable connector and remove the middle cover. After that, we move on to removing the screws at the bottom. For this, we also use a 1.5 mm Phillips screwdriver or Phillips #30. The screws may be different, so we place them in a specially marked location. Then we need to detach the cover at the bottom. We find the right place where we can hook and gently lift and remove the cover. Inside the cover we have the loudspeaker. Then we disconnect the interboard cable connector. Disconnect the coaxial cable connector on the subboard and also release the coaxial cable from its fixings on the subboard. Then we also need to find the right place where we can hook and detach the subboard. Our subboard is held in place by small hooks, so we need to be as careful as possible. So we have detached the subboard. On the subboard we have the headphone jack port, microphone, charging port and other elements on the back side. And the vibration motor remains in the display frame. In our traditionally quick test, in this model it is really difficult to insert something into the microphone hole because it is protected by a mesh on one side, on other side there is a gasket. It will be almost impossible to damage the microphone if something is inserted into this hole. We move on to disconnecting the interboard cable connector, the display connector on the motherboard. We also disconnect the coaxial cable connector and release the cable itself. After that, we can detach the cameras. First we detach the front camera and put it aside. Then we move on to detaching the rear cameras. We disconnect the connectors, carefully remove and put the cameras away. The last camera is glued to the display frame, so we need to be careful too. After that, we move on to detaching the motherboard. We also need to find the right place where we can hook and carefully remove it. However, as we see, that something is preventing us from detaching the motherboard. In this case, we don't need to act forcibly. We need to carefully look at which side that might be holding the motherboard and try to carefully remove it. So we have removed the motherboard. On the back side, as we can see, we have the thermal paste. And in the display frame we still have the earpiece speaker. Finally, we move on to detaching the battery. First, we need to unwrap the transparent covering that holds the battery. And we need to unwrap the green tab that indicates what we need to pull and how we need to pull it. And as the description makes clear to us, we have to pull the green tab upwards. We pull the tab up and we detach the battery. As we can see, we have a transparent coating protecting the interboard cable and the cable on the display. So we have detached the battery. This is the end of our assembly. Thank you for watching and see you around or in the new videos. Okay guys, now we're done. Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, read our articles on our website. Take care of yourself and until next video.